You're sitting in a food court, sandwich halfway to your mouth, and you catch yourself checking who's watching. Nobody's watching, not really. But some part of you flinches anyway, like you've been caught doing something wrong. You tell yourself it's just timing, a rushed lunch, a busy week, nothing deeper than a scheduling problem. But your ancestors wouldn't have understood that excuse at all. For most of human history, eating alone wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was close to a survival failure. In a moment, you'll see exactly what a meal actually was before restaurants and desks and takeout containers, and why sharing it wasn't kindness, it was infrastructure. And by the end, you'll understand why that old wiring is still running in you today, and what it would actually take to give it something real to answer to. To see where this starts, go back to a hunting camp, tens of thousands of years before food courts existed at all. Picture a hunting camp 40,000 years ago. Someone comes back with meat, more than they could ever eat alone. They don't hoard it, they can't. Within hours, that meat is divided among everyone in the group, whether they hunted or not. This wasn't generosity in the way you think of it today. It was insurance. Tomorrow the hunter might come back empty-handed, and someone else's kill would feed them instead. Eating together wasn't a nice custom layered on top of survival. It was the survival system itself, running in plain sight, one shared fire at a time. Anthropologists who study foraging societies have a name for this: food sharing as a social contract, not a sentiment. In many such groups, refusing to share was treated almost like a crime. Eating alone, quietly, off to the side, that wasn't quirky. It raised questions. Was this person hiding food, breaking the pact everyone else depended on? Your ancestors didn't have refrigerators or granaries. Their only long-term storage system was each other's stomachs and each other's memory of who had shared and who hadn't. Every meal was a small public act of trust. So think about what a meal actually was, structurally, for most of human history. It wasn't nutrition plus company. It was the mechanism that kept a fragile group alive. You couldn't skip it, and you certainly couldn't do it invisibly. Everyone saw who ate, how much, and with whom. There was no version of grabbing food and disappearing to a corner. The corner didn't exist. The group was small, the camp was small, and the fire was the only warm, lit place for miles. Eating away from it wasn't lonely, it was almost unthinkable. Here's the part worth sitting with. That discomfort you feel eating alone in a packed restaurant or at your desk while everyone else is out. That's not a modern glitch in your personality. It's an old alarm, still wired in, still checking a box that used to matter enormously. Are you inside the group or drifting outside it? For most of your species' history, drifting outside the group at mealtime was a genuinely dangerous position to be in. Your nervous system doesn't know the stakes have changed. It just knows the pattern, and the pattern says, pay attention. Which raises a real question worth asking yourself. When was the last time a meal actually required other people, not just benefited from them, but needed them, the way your ancestors' meals did? If you can't remember, you're not alone in that, and it might be worth saying in the comments, do you eat most of your meals with someone or near a screen instead? There's no wrong answer here. It's just useful to notice the shape of your own week. Now here's where it gets stranger than you'd expect. In some documented cases, among small-scale societies anthropologists have studied, the person who ate separately from the group wasn't just seen as antisocial. They were sometimes seen as unwell, or under some kind of curse, or in conflict with someone. Solitary eating was a symptom people looked for, the way you might notice someone suddenly avoiding eye contact. It meant something had gone wrong. Compare that to your own week, where eating alone is often just Tuesday. The behavior hasn't changed as much as the meaning attached to it has quietly vanished. And that's the real shift worth naming. Your ancestors didn't lose the discomfort of eating alone. They simply never let it happen often enough to require noticing. The discomfort you feel is the same ancient circuitry. What's missing is the world it was built for. Small groups, one fire, one shared table, nowhere to disappear to. You've kept the alarm, you've lost the structure that used to answer it. This is why eating solo in a crowded food court can feel oddly worse than eating solo at home. At home, there's no audience to register your absence from a group. In the food court, your ancient instincts scan the room the way they once scanned a camp. Who's together, who's apart, and quietly flag you as the apart one. It's not really about the food at all. It's about status inside a group that, this time, was never actually formed. So the fix your ancestors used wasn't a mindset. It wasn't gratitude journaling about food or eating mindfully with your phone away, useful as those might be. It was structural. Meals were built by necessity around other people. The eating itself was inseparable from the gathering. You, on the other hand, have to choose to rebuild that structure on purpose, in a world that no longer forces it on you the way scarcity once did. So the next time you feel that small, specific discomfort, eating alone in a full room or rushing lunch at your desk while a group laughs somewhere nearby, you can name it accurately. It's not weakness, and it's not oversensitivity. It's an old, well-calibrated instinct, still checking for a fire that used to be there. The question worth sitting with isn't why the feeling exists. It's what you're going to do the next time you have the chance to build a table instead of skipping it. If you can recall it, tell us in the comments. Who was the last meal that actually required someone else?